what was it like working with Woody Allen on anything else? And could you tell us a funny story about Woody? Because Woody is a really different character, one-of-a-kind character. Ian McShane, whoever it is, been in Woody Allen movies, have told us hilarious stories about him.
Yeah, Woody. I mean, that was an amazing experience. I was the most nervous I've ever been, I think, in my entire life.
Why? Because you looked up to him so much. He's such an icon.
Well, that, yes, but also I had heard stories about him firing people if he's unhappy, and with no, like, doesn't matter who you are, you know, no star is too big, no one is, you know, he will fire you if he's not happy.
Would you just fire him?
Yeah, I was boring, I get it. Yes, you. Number one?
Does he have your magazine? Does he have your magazine?
That's disgusting, man. So Woody, so I heard these stories, and so, you know, and he doesn't really, Woody doesn't do anything to make you, first of all, Woody is unaware that people are so nervous around him. Like, he doesn't get it. In fact, when you talk, I had a conversation with him about it with one of his producers. We're like, yeah, Woody, everyone's nervous around you. And he's like, why? Like, he really doesn't get it. And yet, everyone is, especially when they first start working with him. And part of the reason is because we look up to him as a filmmaker that we have always enjoyed, I suppose. But also because it's hard to get his approval. It's so it seems. He's not. He doesn't say. He doesn't express his happiness unless he's really happy. And conversely, he will tell you that he's unhappy every time he's unhappy, and he doesn't sugarcoat a thing. So, an example, you know, like any other director might watch a take and then come in and say, the first thing they would say, even if they hated the take, especially if they hated the take, they'll go, good, okay, good. Here's what I'm thinking, you know, like, right? And Woody would just come in and be like, I hated that. That was terrible. You know, we need to do that again. And here's what I'm thinking. So when you're, which, by the way, on the one hand is great, because when he does say, that was really good, great, let's move on, you know he means it, you know? But as actors, you know, with egos and, you know, always looking for approval and you're so nervous and the whole thing, you're also so used to the standard, you know, just everyone is always like, good, but let's try this, you know, whatever. It's just, even just think about when you give someone criticism. You generally you try to soften it up, right? He does not. There is no, like...
So it's completely crushing.
It's just honest. It's just honest, and it took me a while to get used to that. But the first week of it, I was like, oh my God, he's gonna fire me. And I was like convinced of it. He did not end up firing me, and actually I became quite enamored with him, and I think the feeling was mutual. And but there was one great story we shot in August, September, and the high holidays were coming up one weekend, and this is about 3 weeks into filming, and Woody, like in between takes, we're just kind of sitting around and shooting the shit, and he goes, so what are you doing for the holiday? And it all sort of, everything like came rushing. I was like, oh my God, he thinks I'm Jewish. And do I tell him that I'm not and risk getting fired? Or do I just give him an answer? Yeah, I'll be at my cousin's, or my sister-in-law is doing a thing, can't wait. Good Yom Tov. What have you. And I was like, oh my God. And so I crunched the numbers. I was like, we've shot for 3 weeks. That's a lot of film to have to reshoot if he fired. I was like, that's gonna be way too thick. He's not, by the way, we reshot whole days. We would shoot a whole day, and then he would go home and watch it in his screening room, and then he would come back and be like, we need to reshoot that whole day, I didn't like it. So I'm thinking, Jesus, oh my God, okay. And I'm basically, I don't know if anyone saw the movie, but I was basically playing him. I mean, every character that's not him is basically him anyway. But I was really this was actually the first time in a long time that he had sort of given up his role to me, and then he played the friend, where it was just really bizarre. So I was working opposite him, but he was playing a version of him opposite him while he's directing me, and I was like a kid. I was 23. I mean, I was just convinced I was going to be fired. Oh my God, it was such a.
So what was the answer?
So I crunched the numbers. I was like, he's not going to fire me. And at that point, I was like, I think we really like each other. I think it's all good. And I literally was like, Woody, I'm actually not Jewish. And he thought I was kidding. He laughed. And then again, I had another choice. Do I go along with the joke? I got you good. Or do I... So I told, no, I'm not joking. I'm not Jewish. He said, get out of here. And he was just couldn't believe it. He was kind of flummoxed. And then to break the sort of awkward whatever, I think I went into am I fired? Are you gonna fire? Because I just was I gotta get ahead of this. You know what I mean? And so we ended up laughing about it, and he did not fire me, and it was all good. But then for the rest of the shoot, that became this. He couldn't believe it, so that became this thing. He would every time he would talk to me, he would just be or come and give me a note, or he would talk to someone else about. He would be Stockard Channing was in it. He'd be Stockard, he's not Jewish? He just couldn't believe.
You should have said to Woody, I can't believe you're not Jewish.
Yeah.